Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Today's video is a junk journal with me. I'll be working in my junk journal, but today is a themed junk journal session, and the theme is collage. So I am no expert in collage. In fact, it is my weakness, and I really want to master the skill, and I really want to exercise my collage muscle, so to speak. So I have done some collaging before. Let's just find a page. So this here would be a collage page, but this is before I sort of, I was just gluing things down, and I was quite happy with this page. But last night I did some research on collage. I've got my notes over here, and I thought that we can maybe do a page together, and I will tell you what I've found out through my research, and hopefully it will help you out as well when it comes to collaging. So let's find a page. I want to work on a completely blank page, and this is probably the only blank page I have in my journal. So let me just get it ready. This journal is getting very chunky, so I just want to hold these pages down. And here we go. So this is the extent of my 5-minute research last night on collage, and I have found out that collage is a process of gluing and assembling various materials onto a flat surface. It comes from the French verb, I don't know how to pronounce this in French, coller maybe, I don't know, meaning to glue. So all we're going to do is glue things onto the page. So I have already prepared, I've got steps here, that we are going to follow. And I have already prepared some of my things that I'm going to use. So what I've got here is I have a page from the phone book. I have some book pages, I have a doily, I have this yellow element that I want to add a little bit of yellow, I have a little butterfly die cut, maybe I'm going to use some of this drywall tape, we'll see. I have an image, this is going to be my focal point, and then just some other bits and pieces that I want to use in my collage today. Maybe I will pull out some more things as we go, but I don't want to overwhelm myself, and this is what I've chosen for today. So I'm going to put this aside over here. The first step is the background. So on my background, you can start off with watercolor paint to add a little bit of interest. You can do a little bit of acrylic painting with some jelly plate images and things like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue some book pages on, just to give me a little bit of a background, a little bit of a start on my white surface. So I've got some book pages, and I'm going to start tearing into them, and I don't want any straight edges. Maybe something like this, and I want to cover it a little bit more, so I'm going to use my second book page. Maybe something like this. This will give me a little bit of white. Still, if I want to add a bit of color maybe at the end, I will see. But for now, this is my background, and I might, just before I continue, I'm going to ink some of my edges, or maybe all of my edges. And this is sort of where I'm going to have my book pages. I'm not gluing anything yet because we are working on placement. So I'm going to place all of my elements where I want them, and then I will glue them down. So in terms of the placement, this is what I found. Rule of thirds, this is the playing around part, and I will try to follow the rule of thirds. So what that is any image or design should be broken into a grid with 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines, creating 9 equally spaced boxes. The rule of thirds images are more comfortable for a person to look at. So what we're trying to create is some sort of a flow. We don't want to overwhelm the page. We want it to be cohesive and pleasant to the eye. So according to the rule of thirds, the main element or the focal point should be placed somewhere around the intersecting lines. So what this means is basically, we can break rules, of course, but if this is my focal point, I don't want to place it right in the middle. because then that will defy the rule of thirds. That's the way I understand it anyway. So now I'm going to try and follow this rule, and I'm going to see if I can manage, I guess. All right, so now I'm going to place my doily over here. That would still be my background, and maybe for my focal point I might want it off center. So because the eye is instantly drawn usually to the eyes and to the faces of an image, perhaps somewhere around here, if I imagine breaking my page into the thirds, into this this grid, then perhaps, you know, this is somewhere around this section here. I think I want my focal point right there. All right, so now I'm going to play around with all of my other little things and see what I can come up with. I want my page to have a cohesive sort of color scheme, so I'm not going to add bright blue images, for example, because, you know, this is kind of a vintage photograph kind of look, but I want to add a little bit of color. Now this is a very bright yellow, so I might just tone it down a little bit with my ink, and then I'm going to see where I can place it. So maybe I would want some of this yellow to be peeking out from under my doily, maybe up here, and then it will still be visible through the doily, and then maybe this one can go somewhere. Maybe something like this. So the point is to play around and see, you know, how it's all looking. So if I'm not quite happy, I'll just move it around a bit more. Now I want to incorporate a piece of this, and this is just paper that I stamped on using some of my stamps. So maybe I can put that, let's see, maybe something like this, or maybe I'll put it at an angle. I don't know, because I have these straight lines kind of, you know, so I don't know, maybe an angle will work. And then now I'm gonna incorporate a little bit more yellow, so I'm going to use this yellow phone book page. And I'm going to add maybe a little bit more, but I'm not going to ink the edges because I want it to blend in. Not everything has to be inked, I guess. It's a hard fact to accept, but I think it will look nice if this isn't inked. So maybe I can have this peeking out. Maybe something like this. I don't know. How am I doing? I'm sure there's a lot of collaging experts out there, but so far, I don't know. I think it looks okay. All right, so my next thing I wanted to add is my little die cut. And now, following again this rule of thirds, maybe I can place it, if my focal point is down here, maybe I can place this butterfly somewhere up there. So let's have a look. Perhaps I'll give it a little bit of an edge. Maybe something like that. And I've cut off a piece of, I was making my little ruffle rolls, and you might have seen my video on making ruffle rolls, and this was just a little one that I had, and it wasn't so little, but I've used up a lot of it. So I just cut off a piece here, and I might want to add this, but before I do, I'm just obsessed with inking all of the edges, so I just can't help myself, can I? And now, let's see, where can I put it? When I put it there, it gives me a square kind of look, and I really wanted some of this white page showing through. So if I don't find a space for it, I'm not going to use it, but let's see if maybe, I don't know, I can do it up there. So it's not the first thing that the eye should go to is the focal image, and then you want it to travel along the page. So maybe next thing it will go to is maybe the butterfly. Well, that's what I'm hoping for anyway, so I don't know, and then it can go to there, and then it can see all of the other little details. So I've got that there. And now I also wanted to use some of these because I did see this idea from, who was it? It was someone, I saw it on YouTube, using these in spreads and stuff. So I want to see if I can maybe pop them down somewhere just to tie it all in. So maybe So I guess all these little final touches perhaps would actually be better to do at the end when everything is glued down, but I'm not sure how it's going to look. So I'm just testing things out. So I'm not gluing it down. Maybe something like that. But what I'm not liking about it is the fact that it's in a straight line with this. So maybe I can move it in a little bit more. That's not bad, I guess. I don't mind it. Maybe I can ink them more, so I will ink them and make them darker once I've glued everything down. And then another thing that completes the collage, and what I've seen most people do, is adding some sort of a sentiment or a word or something like that. So I want to see if I can find something. So I'm going to go into my little sentiments and words here. And into, this is my Tim Holtz little stickers that I have, and they're pretty much just sentiments from books, so you can use books. So maybe for this image something will, maybe I can use challenge the world. I'll use that one. It's a nice color, and perhaps it goes with an image of children. They can challenge the world. So now I want to see where I can place it. If I put it, this is the middle of my page, so I don't want it in the middle of my page. So maybe, but I don't want it right above because it's too symmetrical and too perfect. So maybe, and now I'm just going to play around because I'm not happy about the straight lines. I've got a straight line, straight line, straight line, straight line. So I want to see if maybe I can move this somewhere else and see what happens. I think that looks better. What do you think? So there's a little bit of yellow there, and then I've got a little bit of yellow here, a little bit of yellow here. And I think this is okay. So it's my first ever collage, I guess, that I'm trying to follow some sort of a rule. So I think I'm happy with it. Now what I'm going to do, oh, I wanted to use a little bit of this. Let's see if I can find a place for it. What about if I ink it? Why not? Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I have my sort of a collage thing, and now I need to start gluing, but then how am I going to remember where everything goes? So I will simply take a photo and I will follow my photo in order to glue everything down. So I'm going to speed this process up, move this out of the way. I will put this these ones next to one another at the end, so you can, if you want to take an image of this very, very simple collage rules, probably third grade art class. But anyway, I'll move this out of the way and I'm going to start gluing my pieces down. So just to protect my desk. So if this goes under the doily, I haven't glued my doily down. I want to do this element first. So maybe something like that. And now this one. Something like that. And now my next layer would be my doily. So I'm going to try and glue this down. I know doilies are quite hard to glue down because of all of these, especially this one that I chose. It's got all of these little holes. Okay, now my doily. Somewhere around there. Perfect. And now my next one from my photo that I can see is, oh, I was supposed to glue these down before. Yee. That's okay. Quick, quick. These go under the doily, so that will do. I'll just add a little bit more of glue to my doily. And now something like that. So I'm just going to glue my image or this little piece to my image. And then that will go down here. And perhaps I should make it stand out even more. Just give it a little bit of an edge. And I can even add doodling and things like that after I'm finished. We'll see. Yeah, I think that looks okay like that. So now I'm going to glue this down. And here we go. So I'll have it all the way down. So I can already see that some of the things are looking a little bit different to my photo. That's okay. Next thing I'm going to do is, let's see, how do I like this? I'm going to add those little circle things. Next I'm adding my little sentiment, challenge the world. And if this collage that I'm doing is breaking all of the collage rules, well, I'm challenging the rules. That's my story and I'm sticking by it. I'll get my little tweezer here so I can sort of see. And I also wanted to glue this. This has to come down, glued down as well, but I also wanted to glue this somewhere. So it's not even visible on video, but there we go, it's glued now. And now I'm going to glue this. All right, let me just move all of this away and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so this is my little beginner's collage. In terms of the rule of thirds, so I did avoid placing my focal point in the middle, which is right here. This is the middle of my page. I've got the butterfly here, which is maybe above this, but it's within, I don't know, it's within that sort of area. And then this here, what I don't like about it is that there's too much of this doily showing, so it's kind of like taking a lot of the page. So perhaps what I could have done is moved this image just slightly to the left. Maybe that would have made it a little bit better. But since this is, you know, beginners, and if I was in 3rd grade and I did this collage, I think I would get top marks. So I'm quite happy with it. I think the main thing is that we need to have some sort of cohesion and some sort of a flow within the page. That's what I understand anyway. We don't want to overwhelm the page. So I could keep adding. I was thinking of maybe going in with some yellow watercolor, some of this color, to just color this in, and maybe it would look quite nice, but I'm afraid it's one of those things that I can't take back, and I'm afraid that I'm going to ruin the page if I do that. I don't know. Let's see when I ink the edges what's going to happen and how it's going to look. So maybe instead of, I'm actually really liking this. I'm definitely not going to go in with watercolor. I'm just thinking maybe I can add a little bit more aging to the corners or something like that. I am quite happy with it. I really wish that I could perhaps just do this without thinking too much and have it look perfect in the end. But it's just one of those things that I will have to practice. And for my very first one, I am quite happy. I don't know if I've showed this one that I did. I've done this one before. I don't know if I've shown it. So you can see how there's a quote here, then there's all these words here, and then there's this rose here, and it kind of, I don't know, at the time I thought it looked really good, but now when I'm looking at this one looks so much better. So I wonder if it's because I was applying the rule of thirds and following the very basic instructions and rules, I guess. I'm not sure. So this is my finished page. I think I'm going to leave it just as it is. I want to add a date, so just so I know when I've done it. So today is the 26th of April, and I need something underneath. Let me get my planner. You all saw this in my previous video. I'm going to get it all the way in there. So 26th of April. 26th of April 2020, but you can't see the first 20, so it could be 1820, right? Or 1920 maybe. Okay, this is it. All right, now I'm going to place these if you find them helpful, and if you want to take a screenshot, I'm going to place them next to each other now so you can take that screenshot. Okay, here we go. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Please, if you are a pro at collaging, do give me some tips if you have some for me. If I've missed, you know, a very important thing that I should have done, perhaps let me know. I'm open to learning, and this is what it's all about. I really want to become a master at collaging, and that is my goal. Well, perhaps not a master, but I want to be able to do a page in my journal and have it, you know, without too much thinking. I just want to put things down and have it look great. If you have any tips for me, please do write them in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!